Hiya. Good evening. It's the John Gaunt podcast. Here's the stark warning to Starmer and to all politicians. Starmer, get a grip. The UK is about to explode. Stay with me for the next half hour or so, and I'll explain exactly why. But I'm not optimistic for the future of this great country. I remember the riots back in 81. They're going to happen again, aren't they? I'm pretty sure of it. I've spent the day in Coventry, and it's been enlightening and depressing at the same time. Welcome to the show. My name's Gaunty. Hope you can stay with me all the way through for the next 30 minutes. Right, where do we start? Let's start here. Keir Starmer knows it. Westminster knows it. And indeed, the country knows it. Britain is reaching a breaking point. Starmer is finished, but if those in power, including him, don't get a grip soon, the damage will be lasting. This week's brutal rape of the 15-year-old girl in Leamington is not just another crime story. I can't stop thinking about it, to be honest. The reported fact that she also filmed the attack, but that nobody intervened. Nobody, when they walked past her in the park, said, "What's going on? Leave her alone," whatever. She was raped in a park by these two Afghan illegal migrants. I think that speaks volumes. The whole issue about the collapse of authority or responsibility and social restraint in modern Britain. And I sense that everyone's getting really angry, but it's a mixture of anger and apathy where they don't think they can change things. Well, I'm telling you, as well as the politicians changing and getting a grip, we've got to too. Then today, after that dreadful sentencing of those two fiends, monsters, whatever you want to describe them, who shouldn't have even been in the country, you'd have thought that our glorious supreme leader, our Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, at question time today, or whatever it's called, PMQs, would have said something. But what did he do? Nothing. Silence. Not a single word. No acknowledgement of public anger or fear. I was saying yesterday a state of emergency should be called. We should be closing the borders and not allowing anybody else into our great country until we know who's here already. Anybody who shouldn't be here should be getting deported, and we've got to get a bloody grip. Well, I think that's even more so now, because with Christmas approaching, this country feels dangerously fractured. Have you noticed how people are so angry? Visibly, audibly, everywhere. You drive in your car. I was driving today, my car, into town, and a woman, it was school time, 3:30, school pickup time. And there's a school on the corner of the road where I live. And clearly this woman was coming out of another side road going to pick up her kids. One, why did she have to pick them up in a car? Why didn't she bloody walk? Be better for her and be better for the kids. And two, she didn't look. So she pulled out of this side road. So I just blew my horn to say, "Hey up, I'm here." Do you know what she did? This. She stuck the finger up and told me to fuck off. I was trying to help her. Her reaction was anger. Maybe she was in a rush. Maybe she had something else to do with the kids. I don't know. How about leaving the house a little bit earlier, darling? But what I do know is she was wound up. And what I also know is she wound me up. I don't want to be wound up by something like this. But I think we are all living on a sort of tinderbox atmosphere at the moment. It's no longer background noise. I think there's a national mood. But I think our politicians and politics, the establishment, is refusing to face this. I spent a few hours this morning in Coventry city centre. What a shithole that has now become. It's my hometown. I was born and bred here. Well, most of my childhood was in Coventry. I came back here. I've run businesses in the city. Many years I've not lived in Coventry, but always come back because all my relatives are here. If I could get out now, I would. This is the city that I was so proud of. Two-tone, the whole idea of black and white uniting, the rest of it. They wrote Ghost Town in 81. It was about the riots. I remember what it was like then. Yes? But that was a bleak metaphor. But now it's a lived reality. Walking through Coventry today, it was a depressing shithole. And Coventry City Council, anytime you want to discuss that, I'm free. Because I'm telling you now, they're redeveloping our city centre, like they're probably doing it with yours as well. But they've forgotten something. The people. The actual people. You can't. I went to the market. Lisa was after some material. I went in the market. Most of it was closed down. That's when you could get in there via the building site. I used to love Coventry Market. All the different kinds of stores, all the different nationalities there. It just felt depressing. Most of the shops are closed down or boarded up. All the shops are being closed down. Remember? There's no real clubs. There's no real restaurants. It's all chain restaurants. And if I see the bloody word halal once more, halal menu, halal food, are we still in Britain? I don't mind if people want to eat halal. I don't mind if they want to eat kosher. But it's as if it's a takeover. And then as you walk through the precinct, how many fucking burqas did I see? How many burqas? Okay, maybe they're students. I don't know. Why come to this wonderful town, the town that gave us some of the best motor cars in the world, that's got top universities? Why come if you're going to bring that cultural baggage with you? Which, by the way, has nothing to do with your religion. And then, as I say, all the places to eat. It's noodles this, noodles that, halal the other. I love foreign food. Last night, I was out and with my mate, I was telling you, we were celebrating the fact that he's clear. And we go to this Indian restaurant. Brilliant. I won't say its name, so I don't want to embarrass them. But we watched the football, the first half. And whilst we got there about 6 o'clock, 10 past 6, that's why I didn't do the show. And we're sitting there, and I lost count of the amount of people come in who were wearing all black with balaclavas on. No, they weren't there to rob the place. They were there for Deliveroo or Just Eat. They were picking up curries. I turned around to my mate Dave and said, how can all these, because they're obviously having it for their tea, how can all these people afford a takeaway on a Tuesday bloody night in Coventry? I said a similar thing to Lisa, my wife, today, because I went into the city centre and they're on their bikes all over the place. I saw a woman turn up in a car. She jumps out of the car, goes into this, this was a noodle place, picks whatever it up she's ordered. She's already paid, obviously, and she comes back out again. How is this sustainable? Like that lady who was taking her kids to school in the car. How's it sustainable? Because she's probably not cooking. I bought mince today, and I bought some peppers, and I bought some onions, and I've cooked a lovely chili for tonight. Lisa turned around to me and said, people don't cook anymore, you idiots. People just have a takeout, I think she called it, not a takeaway, or they have it delivered. Why? It's only sustainable at the moment because all these people are working illegally. Well, that won't carry on forever. There's got to be a clampdown. And then the most worrying thing was, walking through my hometown of Coventry, wasn't the fact that the place is such a shithole, was about the fact it didn't feel like home. It didn't feel like Coventry. And this isn't a rant about mass immigration, although there's too much of it. And there's clearly hordes of illegals living in Coventry. Coventry, the city of reconciliation after the war. That's what we're proud of. But not this. This is just like a free-for-all. But we, the population who were already here before, the Irish, the blacks, the whatever you want to call us, all of us who made up the two-tone revolution, We've fallen for this trap. Yeah, let's have a takeout. Yeah, let's do this. Let's have a city centre that's worse than it was in 1979. And then there's all these I don't know if you've been to Coventry. They've built all these high rises, not for the people of Coventry, for students. And I was sitting in a place called Spon Street watching the students come out to go to college. They're all foreign students. You could tell the way they were dressed. There's an awful lot of, I would say Chinese, but I'm probably wrong to say that. I don't even know what I'm allowed to say. I just don't know how this is helping the city of Coventry or anywhere. And I want to know, is it like this where you live? Because it's like one great big fucking dustbin. Litter everywhere, filth everywhere. And the council, we're redeveloping the lower precinct, the city. Why? Why? What was wrong with it? Are you going to improve it? I don't think so. But there's this tension. There's this tension. Like I say, the woman flipping the bird to me in her car, the state of the roads, potholes everywhere. You'd be better off on the Somme. And then the anger. I suppose I'm expressing that tonight. Everybody, what did the special say? People getting angry. Yeah, Neville sang. It's correct. There's too many people getting angry. There's no culture left. Everything is that and everything is wrong, is what I'm trying to say. We know the price of everything and the value of absolutely nothing. It's a country coming, well, certainly Coventry is, it's a country coming apart at the seams. The city of culture sums this up. I wasn't living in Coventry at the moment, but they made this promotional film for it. And my mate said, have a look at it, John, on the internet. And I had a look at it. It said nothing about Coventry. Not the Coventry I knew. I mean, there's some great Bhangra drumming and dancing and all of that. Fair enough. But where was the Godiva story? Where was the car industry? Where was the sweat and the labour of people who came from places like Ireland, Poland, the Eastern Bloc, and rebuilt this city? Where was that? Wasn't in it. No, it's all about diversity. And we know what diversity they mean. And then, just up the road in Leamington, I'm sorry, I've lost it a bit. Just up the road in Leamington, that girl gets viciously raped by two monsters. Illegals, shouldn't even be in the country. And Starmer says sweet F.A. about it today. Sweet F.A. He did a little tribute to a soldier who had died in Ukraine, and rightly so. That's what you should do at PMQs. But why didn't he say, I just want to make a statement about Leamington? Why not? And why didn't people intervene? Well, I tell you why. Because people don't get involved anymore. We're losing our soul. We've lost our sense of community. Something has shifted in this country, and I reckon everyone watching this tonight knows it. And that anger, if you're feeling it like me, it isn't imagined. It isn't manufactured. And I'm sure it's not confined just to the two-tone city. It's out there on the streets. It's on the roads. It's in ordinary conversations. And it's being completely ignored by the people who claim to govern us, headed by Starmer, but it's all of the political class. That horrific crime in Leamington didn't come out of nowhere. It landed in a country already stretched, already tense. It wasn't the first sexual assault or rape by people who shouldn't even be in our country. We don't have to import sex fiends. We've got enough of our own, and we don't deal with them strongly enough either. I think most people have lost faith with anyone who's in control. Because when you say, Starmer this, Starmer that, people go, yeah, but the others are just as bad. The best defence every politician's got at the moment, every Labour politician say, well, what about Labour? What about the Conservatives? I had people last night sending me tweets saying, on today on YouTube, you conveniently forget Boris Johnson or Mrs. Thatcher. None of those things do I do. I often talk about what Thatcher did right, what she did wrong, what Boris did wrong. I condemn people like Rishi Sunak and the way he fucked up the country, and Liz Truss. But if their best defence is we're only as bad as the Tories were, that's not really a defence, is it? That's not leadership. And it felt today, as I walked through Coventry and drove round it, the city that once warned Britain were ghost town, that what I was seeing wasn't nostalgia, it's not exaggeration, it's recognition. And it's happening again. And it's a country we've given away. And I just must stress at this point, I am not anti-immigration. I'm into well-controlled, managed immigration. Without the doctors that came from Pakistan in the 60s, there would have been no real medical service in Coventry. I know what their contribution was. I know what the contribution of the Irish was. And for too long, we neglected it and we forgot to give it the right credit. Coventry is a multiracial, multicultural city, but there used to be a thing that united us. And it wasn't just two-tone music. It was the fact we were Coventry. We were real people. Okay, our football club's come back, although we were robbed last night, of course. That's come back, and that's wonderful to see. But we've lost something. And it isn't about right versus left, so don't start on all that. It's about order versus drift. Authority versus denial. And my question tonight is simple. How much longer do those in power think this country will absorb or take their shit of being ignored? I'm glad you're here, because this conversation ain't going to go away. It's been rattling in my brain all day. And I want to share your thoughts and my thoughts on this. Are you angry like I am? Is there a way through this? And when do we start? When do we start to rebuild our society? Britain is a great country. Why do we give away our passports as if they're worthless? Why do we let anybody basically become a British citizen? No. You've got to prove yourself. And the first thing you've got to do is read, speak, and learn the language. Those animals who raped that girl had to have interpreters. How can this be right? How do we lose it? And it's not just now. I'm not asking you to just ring up and slag off Starmer. That isn't what I'm after. I'm after you saying, well, how do we rediscover it? Because Coventry is a good place to think about this, because Coventry there were terrible times in the 60s. I accept that when it was a boomtown. There were terrible times of racism, even during the specials era. However, largely, we got on. The riots didn't really happen in Cov. They happened in Birmingham. But Coventry, where have we gone wrong? Why do I feel a stranger in my hometown? If you'd like to join in, please put a comment and I'll come to them in a moment. If you like what I'm saying, press the like button. Loads of you done so far, 22 already. And of course, I rely on your donations to keep. I'm not embarrassed by it. I rely on your donations to keep this show going. So if you'd like to contribute, feel free to press the $ and chuck a few quid in the hat, or go to www.buymeacoffee. That sums up the world, doesn't it? buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt. Where's the individuality? Where's the character? Why is everything bloody hal al? I just don't get it. Should shut all borders years ago. It's so late. It's too late now. The soldiers are here. We're knackered, to be polite, says Nigel Gordon. See, Nigel, not having a go at you, but that's exactly what I'm saying. You're angry, but you're apathetic. You think we can't change. And I feel a lot of that pain, mate. I do feel a lot of it. But that's not the answer, is it? I don't know what the answer is. That's why I'm doing my programme. Evening, Gaunty, says Cumberland Mackham 9296. We need to see weekly peaceful protests in every city and town up and down the country, demanding a general election. But if we have a general election, won't the government just get in again? Do you follow what I'm saying? That's the old cliche, isn't it? Am I being too cynical? I don't know. John, We must remember when we had the British Empire, we invaded a lot of countries also, says Frank Francis. Frank, go and put your horsehair shirt on, mate, if you're feeling that guilty. Listen, when we had the Empire, many of those countries were in a better, stronger position than they are. Have you been to the Empire? Have you been to India? I'm not saying it was all great. I'm not saying it was all beautiful. Of course it wasn't, and it should be taught in its totality. But Frank, don't start saying this is to do with the Empire, because if it was, why didn't it happen before? Why did we not, when we had well-controlled managed immigration, there was assimilation eventually? I'm not saying straight away. And there was terrible racism when people first came to this country. And I abhor that, and I'm against it. But don't make out this is to do with the frigging Empire. We did many, many great things in the world. You've been taught by too many lefty progressive teachers. Nigel, people need to open their eyes, see what the hell is happening. And Trump is wrong. Have you been ironic there? I guess you are. Mass immigration is destroying this tiny country. I agree. Mass uncontrolled immigration is making it even worse. You are right. We had well-controlled immigration in the 60s and 70s. Yes, there was trouble. Yes, there were riots. Yes, there was violence. Yes, there was racism. But somehow we got through that and we built this city. That's what I'm talking about, Coventry. We built it. Every one of us, whether it was my dad coming from Hull, somebody coming from Pakistan, somebody coming from India, somebody coming from the West Indies. But this lot who are coming now, the illegals, are they actually contributing? Are we not allowed to say, no, they're not? Because I don't think they are. I don't think the boys on the Uber bikes, good luck to them trying to earn a few bob, but do you think that's going back into the economy? Do you understand what I'm trying to say here? David KT, I was born in Goulston Hospital in Coventry, christened at St. James's on Tile Hill Lane. My granddad was a fireman at the Standard Works on the night of the Blitz. It breaks my heart. I'll never go back to Coventry again. That's kind of what I'm talking about. There's a no to digital ID protest on Saturdays, is like ale, is there? Big deal. It's hardly number one problem. They're not going to get that through anyway. The problem at the moment is we've sold our country. We haven't even sold it. We've given it away. Agree, disagree? Let me know. An army is being houses, feed and clothing provided, plus mobile phones, just waiting for the signal to go. Frank, I don't understand what that means. Could you try and write it in English? Fraser Ford says, cooking at home is cheaper. It's not only cheaper, it's also better for you, Fraser. Correct. But listen, I'm in that Indian last night, right, watching the football, and there must have been at least 100 people came in collecting to deliver for Deliveroo or Uber on a Tuesday night. What is going? And I was in at 6, so it was early doors. We were out because we were celebrating, like I told you. There's something wrong. There's something wrong in our society. What is it? Judith Farrell says Trump is spot on. Thank you. Pam Millett says, oh, Pam, you'll be up on a charge. She says, halal meats, it's the most cruelest, barbaric way of killing animals ever. I agree. Same with kosher, then. None of it should be allowed in this country. If you want to buy that product, it should be on the shelf. It can come from New Zealand. But it shouldn't be de rigueur. Did you know most school meals are now halal? Because of the ethnic population. It's not ethnic population. It's the Muslims. Are we not allowed to say that? It's not because of... It's just all garbage. It's all garbage. Then trigger warnings on plays like Shakespeare and no celebration of our literature, our culture. Coventry City of Culture Festival was an absolute fucking flop. And why? Because it didn't concentrate on the culture of Coventry. Every other culture, it's like when they talk about diversification. It's everything apart from if you're a 64-year-old fat white bloke, isn't it? Yeah? You know it is. You know it is. And I'm all for equal opportunity. If kids don't work, £71,000 a year plus work benefits city, why would they work? Yes, I agree. But we don't need to penalise. What we need to do is get a sense of community. I guess that's what I'm also talking about. There was no sense of community in Coventry today. It was just, there was nothing that united us. It was just squalor and filth. But then these huge tower blocks for students with Deliveroo drivers coming in and out of them. I was there. What time was I there? When I pick them up, 3 o'clock this afternoon. They were delivering to student blocks. How can students afford that? One of the best things I learned at university was from my mate Nigel, who I shared a house with. He showed me what you could do with 50p's worth of liver and 50p's worth of mince if you bought it on a Monday and kept it in the fridge. Keep you going for the week. I think it's 50p, but you understand the crack of what I'm saying. Don't students cook anymore? Making a fish, Bobby, my mate showed me how to make a fish curry with tins of mackerel. Beautiful. Wouldn't necessarily want to eat it now, but has that all gone? Am I being an old fart? Tell me, feel free. And if you like what I'm saying, please make a contribution. Christmas is coming. Gaunty doesn't want to have to sell the big issue outside Primark. Oh, there's another one for the Coventry listeners. We used to have this department store. My mum worked there. She used to fill the shelves. Primark, it used to be called Owen and Owen. Big department store, a bit like, with, Mrs. Slocum, how's your pussy? That style of thing, yep. Prestigious, upmarket, lovely, right in the centre of Coventry. The best shop, the best position. Guess what? It's now a bloody, what do you call that? Primark, yeah. It's now a Primark. 14 floors, or however tall it is, of shit, of cheap clobber that you basically don't bother washing because you can just buy another one for £2. I think I'm wearing one. No, I'm not. But you understand what I'm saying. It's terrible. It's just terrible. And that is just what Britain is. The market traders are complaining because because they're doing this regeneration of the lower precinct, right? Which means demolish everything for about 8 years. You can't find the bloody market. And they're moaning. And rightly so. What's the council doing? Sweet FA. So a load of these markets, and we used to have a beautiful fish market, veggies. And I tell you something, because of the influx of people from the Asian subcontinent and indeed the West Indies, you could get any kind of fruit and veg in there. Fantastic. But it's a sorry state now compared to what it used to be. Why are we allowing this to happen? Richard Pope, good evening, John. There was even a Coventry Market musical in the better days about 15 years ago. I remember Harry Hill took the piss, didn't he? Considering Coventry won City of Culture, there's not much to show for it. No, there isn't. You're right. It was a complete and utter flop. Do you know why? Because all the people from Coventry who were meant to organise it, they sacked. They brought in people from London and from other places to run it. Bradford, who have got it this time, have said, no, we're going to have local people to run it. Not Coventry. They completely effed it up. And before you say, well, how do you know? I was the guy who opened music venues in Coventry when it was an absolute ghost town after the specials. So I know what it was like. Getting money out of the council, forget it. Shut up, John. Richard Pope says, keep your cool, John. Don't want your mic popping again. Oh, shut the fuck up. Who's this then? Lena Tail. 7. You need a bit of passion sometimes in your life, Richard. Yeah? I can't just be, I'll be the BBC if you want. Every town, city, indeed my own hometown of Dunstable has completely gone to shit, says Leon Tail 7251. It's been like that for some time. I know Dunstable well because I used to work in Luton. There was a campaign, wasn't there, to restore Dunstable. Don't think it worked. Dunstable should be a great place. But see, Dunstable and Luton are just like Coventry. Same kind of ethnic mix. Asians, Indians, Pakistanis, the Irish, of course, car industry. But look how they wrecked that. I was there, don't forget, the day when they closed down the Vauxhall. It's tragic. It is tragic. Not like that, John. Yet, John. And there's only a very tiny space for halal products. Thank you. I don't know what that is. It's a great show today, says Fraser. Well, if it's that good, Fraser, chuck a fiver in. Craig Urquhart, the tension and anger stems from the fact these illegals are laughing up their balaclavas at us. We can't house our own, but they, ta-da, come on down. Ta-da, come on down, flippers. I think I understand what you mean. You're right. You're right. They brazenly ride those black bikes with their black clothes, with their black balaclavas on, because they ain't paying any tax. And Deliveroo and Uber Eats, sue me if you want, they must know what is going on. And then I could take you to hotels in Coventry where I'll show you all the bikes, they're not even hidden around the back. They're basically outside the front of the bloody hotels, the hotels that we're paying for. So we're paying for their bed and board, right? And their squeezy soap in 4-star hotels. They're then getting on their Uber delivery bikes and delivering shit food to all of us, right? Which you mugs are buying. You shouldn't buy it. Cook your own bloody food. Anyway, that's what's happening. And then they're picking up, some people are saying maybe £1,000 a week. But everything's already paid for by us. And then what's the chances of them being sent home? 0. That's what the chances are. And then today, idiot Starmer has sent Lammy to represent our great country and Lord Herman the Burman, right, to basically renegotiate the ECHR. It won't be renegotiated. Farage sees that French bloke who might become the president, but everyone's on the high horse now saying, oh, he's a fascist. No, he's just right wing, that's all. But it's just mad. It's just mad. Tell me what it's like in your hometown. Tell me what it is like in your hometown. John had a phone call today asking me to help a migrant. They were offering me 500 quid. I said, I'm not interested, and ended the phone call. What do they want you to do for 500 quid? Let me know. I last visited Leicester City Centre on Christmas Eve last year, John. I went into Primark. The place was heaving. However, it wasn't until I got to the 3rd floor that I heard English spoken. Oh, dear, careful. You'll be up on a charge. It did make me feel uneasy. Nigel Farage said that years ago, and I thought it was a perfectly fine observation. I think he went to Northampton, and I was living in the countryside then on the outskirts of Northampton, and he was kind of accurate. And it was accurate today in parts of Coventry. It was accurate. Like when I said I saw these girls, there were students, obviously, all in burqas or variations of burqas. A few of them had the full one on, whatever. In fact, I nearly knocked one over just outside where it used to be the Co-op. It's not the Co-op now. It's some place advertising halal food. And then next to it was halal desserts. It's hello, darling. Hello, Coventry. It's just, I'm not saying there isn't a place for it. I'm just saying, what on earth is going on? Ruth Kapocki, how the hell has this happened? I think I do know. A succession of holier-than-thou woke warriors, cultural Marxists in councils. They've taken over everything. This is what the cultural Marxists do. There's no revolution anymore. There's no storm in the Winter Palace. They just take over the police. They have a thing called common purpose. If you don't go on the common purpose course, you can't progress in the police. You can't progress in the council. You can't become a top officer. Huh? You can't. That's what happens. And so we've got this class who have all been effectively brainwashed into this one way of thinking. They say it's diversity. It isn't. It's not diversity of thought. Because if you dare to have diversity of thought, you get cancelled. That's what happened. I'm almost going crazy here. So, as that picture behind you says it all, politicians are not human. Thank you very much indeed, Mark Cavill. I love that picture of Starmer. I think it's been altered by someone, not by me, but who cares? Anger wells up inside my stomach every time I read or hear about everything that's gone wrong in my country today. Thank you very much indeed. Who's this one? Hold on. I've been pissed off since they got into government. They're a shower of SH1T, says Melanie. Yes, Melanie, I understand that. But we've got to move on from just hating Labour and Starmer. Because it isn't just them. It isn't. Although I must say today, I thought Kemi Badenoch, the way she took the mickey out of Starmer, if you've not seen it yet on Prime Minister Question, she was brilliant. She was brilliant. But in the end, that's all pantomime. They don't understand the life we're living. And what's happening now is they don't understand the tension, the stress, the anger, the frustration of ordinary people. I'll say it, mostly white people who feel that a lot of these illegals are coming in and taking the piss, right? And they're thinking, well, why should I work? Why should I do that? And if you don't recognize that and work to educate and help that, and if you don't start doing mass deportations of people who shouldn't be here, people think you don't care, Starmer. That's the thing. People think I've worked all my life. I've worked all my life. My kids have worked my life. Did my apprenticeship. Got all my stuff. Bought myself a nice house. Sent my kids to school. This doesn't matter whether they're white, black, blue, or whatever. But hold on. Here's a guy on an Uber bike. How much is he picking up a week? That's what's going on. And that's not racism. That's people saying that's not fair. And what is going on is classism. Because Starmer won't even call people, working people, the working class. Because although his dad was a toolmaker, owned a fucking factory, he doesn't like the working class. He hates us. And so do the rest of Labour. They absolutely despise us. They do. And so it's classism. They allow us to live in all this. Because I don't think Starmer's living next door to 3 Uber drivers, do you? In a home of multi-occupation. The homes of multiple occupation are the next big battleground. Because they won't be where they live. And none of what I'm saying is against the individual immigrant. Anybody who wants to come here to better themselves, I understand why, but I'm sorry, join the queue. And it starts in Ethiopia or Eritrea or wherever you come from. It doesn't start in bloody France. One of those Afghans who sexually assaulted that girl, raped her, the 15-year-old who hasn't even done a GCSEs, he had tried to get into our country 3 times, didn't get in. 4th time he did get in. But before that, there's pictures today in all the newspapers, if you don't believe me, have a look, of him living in Belgium and France and somewhere else. And he's there with his false Yves Saint Laurent handbag. You know those bags. Why do men do that as well? It's like a handbag, right? He's there. The pictures of him are in the paper today. And then you see ordinary people who did their apprenticeships, people who worked on the tracks at Masses or the Stand. I'm talking about Coventry, that's my home experience. They just think this ain't fair. And you know what? It isn't. I agree. Coventry has changed as Jenny Ann Selby is turned into a dumping ground. Oh, yeah. At one point, the council were really proud that they were taking in more than anybody else. I see now they've been objecting to it. You can't just keep taking people. Yes, you take genuine refugees. See, I keep reading that these are all refugees. No, they're not. Those 2 aren't refugees. They're asylum seekers only because they know that's what they do. As soon as the flip-flop hits the sand, claim a asylum. So I'm being persecuted. That is no good to the genuine person who is being persecuted, is it? That's what we get when they elected a human rights lawyer as a prime minister. Yeah, but he's only the latest, isn't he, then? I remember Boris saying things will get better, but they haven't got better. In fact, he's slowly gone from bad to worse. Governments care too much for their own jobs. They don't give a fuck about you and me or any other person. Thank you, Den. You're not going to get an argument. You're not going to get an argument. If the empire was so bad, why did people from the empire come to live here? Says Mark Cavill, 1892. I've told this story before, Mark, but it's true. When I went to, I don't know if it was in Mumbai or Delhi. When I say Mumbai, of course, I mean Bombay. When I was there, I was in the taxi, I think coming from the airport with Lisa. Oh, no, we went on a road trip, and then the bloke's pointing out all the things. And I said, oh, who built that? Who built that? He said, oh, that was the British. That was the British when they were there. And I was kind of embarrassed. I thought he was going to say, you thieving bastards, when you came to our great nation and you did. And it was like, no, they're quite proud. And that's why I think people, when they came, I certainly know that in the West Indies, in Barbados, for example, the first time I ever went there was years ago, years and years ago, when I wrote telly. I, true working class fashion, pissed the money up the wall, and we went to the Caribbean for a month. Me and Lisa, we only just got together, and anyway, we're in Barbados, and they've got a place called Trafalgar Square. I think they're more British than we are. So imagine what it felt like when they go, "Oh yeah, we'll get on that Windrush. We'll go and live in England and help rebuild the National Health Service and the rest of it. Yeah, or create the National Health Service." Then they got here, and everyone was racist to them. No blacks, no Irish, no dogs. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. But don't have this view that somehow everybody in the empire hated us, because it's not true. It's not true. I've just been watching that great program called Empire by David, I can't say his surname, that one, who's sometimes a right twat, but it's a great program, even if you don't agree with it all. Talking about slavery, talking about people, how the world was shaped. It's fascinating. But see, the problem is we've been taught at school, haven't we? Huh? I always remember that. I sent my daughter to a school in Coventry, Bablick, and we went to the private school because I had the money. I don't know whether it was worth the money in the end, but anyway, let me tell you. So we're there at the open night's history. She'd done really well, and she says, "Oh yeah, she's doing really well," and da 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 da. And we got on to talk about Israel and Palestine. And she said something, I can't remember what it was, but it was pure propaganda. And I said, are you sure about that? I took the other view. She didn't like it. She didn't like it because this is what teachers do. Most of them aren't very bright. You know this, don't you? And they get into teacher training college, right? The kids who were bright where I went to school all went to universities. And ended up having to sell coffees. But the people who went to teach them, most of them were one-dimensional. Just absolutely one-dimensional. So whatever they were taught, they've said it. And so in all those polytechnics where they went to, now called universities, they became teachers. And that's how the cultural Marxism thing occurred. It's a bit simplistic, my explanation, but I think you get what I'm trying to say. Who's this? Joel Trevivia. I can't read what you're saying. There's a difference between invading and government surrendering visas. The people of this country have never voted for immigration. They all have to go. Windrush onwards. Don't be so fucking stupid. Well-controlled, managed immigration who we invited into the country is fine. Why do you want to be a racist like that? Why do you want to be like that? Fraser Ford. I hear lots of farms and other businesses all being closed, farms and other businesses all being closed because they have been overtaxed. Thank you for your comments. Let's go to Jackie Ward. No one's donating. You obviously think this is rubbish, even though hundreds and hundreds of you are watching tonight. Thanks. I live in a tiny village in Bedfordshire. Oh, yeah, Jackie. Last week, I had to go to Bedford to the dentist. Oh, don't get me started on Bedford. That should be the most beautiful city or town in the country. But what a dump that was last time I went. It was as if I'd got an EasyJet and gone to a foreign country. This is Jackie saying this, not me. I felt vulnerable walking down a side street. I was the only white person and the only female. Because of the government's policy of letting the illegals roam freely, I found myself suspecting every one of these males of being a potential rapist. That's sad, because they were probably law-abiding, decent people. But I just don't know who is, ... Jackie, I love that. I love what you've written there, because it's from the heart and it's absolute honesty. Yeah? I mean, Bedford had a massive Italian population, didn't they, of immigrants, and West Indians. But you're right, recently it's been flooded. Well, it goes all the way back to when they... when I was on BBC Luton, what was it called that? Yarlswood Detention Centre, when this all started. But the idea that if you bring in... See, I think you're right. You've hit something on there because the government's policy of letting the illegals roam freely, I think you're right. That fuels anger and frustration and the rest of it. if these people were locked up in secure places, not allowed to roam, you'd feel better. They wouldn't get tempted to do silly things, or some of them, because not all of them, because you're right, Jackie. Most of them will be perfectly normal people and, given a chance, want to assimilate into the country. Unfortunately, they've jumped the queue, which is why I say they've all got to go. Stelliards, chucks away. But I think you just made a brilliant point, and I want to thank you for it. Thank you very much indeed. Someone has donated. Mark Cavill, 1892, has just donated a £5 on YouTube by sending a sticker. Thank you very much indeed, Mark. Now Mark started, why don't you carry on? Any advance on a £5? John, my hometown has gone downhill since 7-7. What's your hometown then? London? What do you mean, Craig? Tell me what you're talking about. David KT says, excuse me, I've got burps. You and I, John, are both getting old, mate. Where we come from doesn't exist anymore. It's called progression. Oh, really? I know you're taking the mickey. Thank you for it. Stephen Leach says, evening, Gaunty. Last year I was in McDonald's and a lady asked if they were closed on a certain day. The staff member said yes. This lady kicked off saying, how fair is that? What are our kids going to eat on that day? I know what you mean. It's just ludicrous. Huh? Unbelievable. Dean Spinks says, laugh out loud. I think he's laughing at that. Danny Cooking Up says, people forget how Islam was looked upon in 2001. I must have forgotten them. What do you mean? How was it looked at like in 2001? Explain, Danny. I'm not slagging you. Just tell me more. I don't know what that means. He says every major city in the UK has a Muslim mayor. Is that true? Factually, I'm not sure that is. Then he says there's 3,000 mosques in the UK. I haven't got a problem with that, Danny. And I haven't got a problem with mosques taking over old churches. Better to use them than not use them. Although I've got a problem with one in Coventry. There's one in Coventry where it's the old VG shop, right? And they've converted it. It look like they've made a good job of it. It's just a double shop. And they've done it up, and good luck to them. It's on Horsley Old Road, if you want to know where it is in Coventry. But the other day I was coming past, they're all outside on the artificial grass that they've put down, praying. Run this one past me again. I know Billy Graham came over in the 70s and 60s and did big outside things. He came to Brighton, so did the bloody Pope. To Baggington Airport, which they're going to close down. But you've got a mosque. Go inside and do it. Why are you doing it outside? What's all that about? I don't know. Upmarket Uber Eats waiting outside Waitrose at Harrow in London. Sorry, John, the popping is probably my shitty hearing. I have diacusis. What the hell's diacusis? Tell me. I'll tell you what, Richard. No, it'll be me. I haven't got any microphone technique. I just bawl and scream and shout. It's what's made me so successful. I don't want to go on a course where I become all smooth. Although sometimes I wish I'd gone into music radio. Here's the better music mix. Maybe not. Steve in Leeds. There you go, Gaunty. You deserve it tonight. Keep taking the pills. Much respect, buddy. Thank you very much, Steve. He's just donated a £5. Thank you very much indeed for that. So we're up to a tenner now. We can almost eat. John, any chance you'll take your show on the road? It'd be great to see you in Lincoln. Unfortunately, Katie Hopkins was cancelled. This is Ian Teal. Yeah, well, I was talking to my mate Charlie the other day and to Dave, who did the road manager when I did it last time, about wouldn't it be a laugh to do that? Yeah, but I've got to have a bigger following. I've got to remind more people, because I still have people saying, I thought you were dead, right? So as the internet grows and as the idea of broadcasting not being, having to work for talk radio or work for the BBC, maybe. But I don't want to go and play to 6 people, 6 people and a dog, right? And the dog hate me. I don't need that. I've had enough of that in my life. But yeah, I would love to. I would love to go on the road again. When I did my one-man show before, it was a cracker. So we'll see. Light Ale on me, says Mark Cavill, because he just donated a £5. Thank you very much indeed on YouTube. Terry Wheatley. I can't wait and see Reeves as she starts a witch hunt into the people who leaked the budget info before she screwed the country. Can't wait for the outcome of that. Yes, you're being sarcastic. Oh, by the way, Terry, you said you'd sent me a coffee the other day. It never arrived. Maybe you want to check your comments. John, me and my family used to live in Leeds, next door to one of the 7-7 bombers. That's a claim to fame, isn't it? I once went to Gloucester to some seminar then, Craig, and I'm in the taxi, and I said to the bloke, the taxi driver, "Oh, come on, I'll show you the best places in Gloucester." And he took me to that Gloucester Docks place. You been there? That's pretty impressive. And then we went up the side street. I said, "Where are you now?" He said, "This is where Fred used to live." I said, "Fred? Fred who?" He said, "Fred West." I said, "What is this on the tourist trail?" I think they'd knocked the house down. Why would anyone want to go and see where Fred West lived, especially if they'd knocked it down? I don't know. Stephen Lee says, "Come to Leeds, Gaunty." Well, I'll tell you something now, Steve. One of the best nights we had on my tour, when we did the live tour, we played at, what's it called? The Variety Theatre, is it? It was where Good Old Days used to be on, right? It was brilliant. A proper old fancy Victorian musical. I think it only held about 120, 130, which is good news because it meant I sold out. And it was fantastic. And I tell you who was there that night, Chris Kamara. Not himself. He sent his wife. His wife was a mega fan. And he knew me vaguely, showbiz. And I love him. I think he's brilliant. And I love the way he's battled back from illness. But his wife, and she loved the show. Heckled me, shouting abuse. Oh, it's fantastic stuff. I fancy doing that, but I'm not going to do it unless I can sell out. I can't see any dog who would hate you, says David KT. Thank you. Taxi driver says, "Good evening, John. Just tuned in. Hope you're well." Yeah, maybe you don't realise that we're starting at 6 from now on. And yesterday I had to do the show during the day because I had a very important event to do in the evening. Jackie Ward says, "I remember going to the stables at Wavendon to watch your live show. It was a great night. It'd be good if you ever got to do it again." Yeah, I did do a show at the stables in the 400-seater theatre. Sold it out. Loved it. Not in the little one round the corner where a certain failed DJ had to perform the other week. I'm not going to mention his name. Don't want to start a little spat with him because he makes up lies about me. So we'll ignore him because he's disappeared, so we won't mention him. But yeah, I did do the stables. Brilliant. Cleo Lane. That's when she was still alive. Johnny Dankworth. What a fantastic couple they were. They used their talent, their skill, their professionalism to create a superb theatre on the outskirts of, well, I think it was the outskirts of Milton Keynes. The way Milton Keynes has expanded, I think it's different. I love Milton Keynes. I'll move back there. Milton Keynes doesn't feel like a shithole. I wonder if the council are going to take me up on it. See, if we still had a paper, an evening paper, we used to have the Coventry Telegraph, right? One of the greatest newspapers. Some of the top people work there. Jeremy Wine. Don't hold that against them. But also Dermot Moynihan. Have you seen about him? Got stage 4 cancer. What a night. I tell you what, I met him loads of times. Drank with him in the town hall when he was just a journalist and I was arty-farty on the TV, the radio, not the radio, the theatre. And what a nice bloke. Then met him again, of course, when he was on Sky and stuff. Nice fella. But he's got the big C. Got the big C. And that's why I was celebrating last night with my mate. Pam Millett says, I sent you a copy a few days ago on YouTube, Uton B. Did you receive it? What's YouTube? I did get the coffee, Pam. I remember your name. Yes, thank you. I think I thanked you. I normally send back, every time somebody sends me a beer or a contribution, I do normally write back and say thank you or put you on my roll of honour. If I forget that, please remind me and I will. But I remember sending you a message, Pam. Who we got now? Roger Slape. 20 quid is just chucked into the pot by donating a super sticker. He just clicked on the $ and he's donated 20 quid. Well, I know tonight's show's definitely worth a £5, maybe a £10, but 20 quid, Roger. You've been on the pop, but thanks very much indeed. Stephen Leeds says, I met you in Leeds when you were signing your book. It was the same week as you were taken off air. You're such a gentleman, John. Yeah, that's exactly why I don't want to do a tour again at the moment, because when I did that tour. The second tour, that's when I got the sack from. Well, I didn't get the sack. They kept me hanging on for weeks and weeks. I felt like Blondie. But yeah, like Mike Graham, they go through their kangaroo court, don't they, to decide whether they're going to sack you or not. What they're really doing is checking that you can't come back at them and sue them. But yeah, do you know what? I don't know if I've ever told you this. I didn't particularly like working at TalkSport. I liked the money, although I earned more money at BBC Local Radio. It didn't really matter because I was working for the Sun. Another story. Maybe I'll tell it in the live show. Come to Barnsley, see if you can see the bottom of my pocket. We peel orange with one hand. Oh yeah, very good, very good. I went to the Panto in Bristol yesterday, Jack and the Beanstalk. It was brilliant, says taxi driver 2107 in between licking windows. Thank you, mate. I saw you at the Civic Hall in Bedworth. It's run by volunteers now, as the council wanted to close it and demolish it. That was a great night, wasn't it, Richard? Yeah, I remember that. That was a cracking night, Bedworth, with Banga, because Banga was my bodyguard. He passed away, sadly. He was a professional wrestler. So he'd played at Bedworth Civic Hall loads of times. Yeah, we had a great night. It's great when you go to Bedworth, though, because no, I was going to do the naughty joke. Roger Slape says, love you, Gaunty. I think I saw you in the Arlington recently. What's the Arlington? Don't know what you're on about, Roger. Where's Arlington? Not the cemetery in Washington. I remember the Pink John. That was weeks ago. What about Hugh coming back? Hugh Edwards, says Mark. Oh, yeah, the filthy, noncy pervert. I couldn't believe that. What about all the people in the BBC saying, oh, Hugh, it'd be great to have you back? He had pictures of 7-year-olds being raped. You want him back on the telly? Yeah, but he told us the Queen had died. Some people are beyond it. They really, really are. Where are we going next? John, me and my family had to stay in a hotel for a number of weeks after we found out. We ended up moving to Durham, says Craig. Oh, you're talking about the living next door to the bomber. Yeah. It would make me want to move as well. Do you like chocolate, says taxi driver. What are you on about? Go and lick a window. Terry Wheatley. Apologies, John, but I have sent you a coffee. I'm going to check that tonight, Terry. I'm not going to believe you, mate. Somehow it's not on my system. All right, I've had enough. I'm just getting a bit silly now, so I'm going to stop. I want to say, David KT says, I used to work with Bangor at Mayfair Security. Well, he owned it, didn't he? Such a lovely, kind man. Such a sad loss. Yeah, he was also bodyguard for, what's his name? Roy Chubby Brown. He had some great stories about Roy Chubby Brown. He knew my dad really well because my dad was a copper. It's funny how these stories sometimes always come back round. He used to be head bouncer. They don't call them bouncers now. What do they call them? Security or something. But anyway, at Mr. George's nightclub in Coventry or Park Lane, whatever it was called at the time. And the precinct in those days had like a balcony around it, right? So it was about 15 foot off the ground. Bangor used to hold people by their ankles, he was so strong, hold them by their ankles over the balcony and tell them to behave, right, if they'd been misbehaving. And then would sometimes just forgot he was holding them. Absolute legend, this guy, but lovely, gentle bloke. But he knew my dad because my dad had been in the cops. So that helped me when I started my club because Bangor kind of, took me under his wing. John, Coventry lead at the top is getting smaller as the bubble burst. No, it hasn't. We should have won last night. We didn't, but there we are. We're still 7 points ahead. I can't remember. I think we'll be all right. Craig says, John, thank you for another awesome live stream. As always, keep up your fantastic work. I'll try. David KT's done me a load of smiley faces. And Jackie Ward has given me my 3 red hearts. The other lady used to always say, play up Sky Blues and send me hearts. I've just forgotten her name for a minute. She wrote to me the other day. I thought she'd fallen out with me, but she's been in hospital. So get well soon if you're watching this. Please. I can't afford to lose listeners. Watches. Anyway, look, I've enjoyed that. I got it off my chest. I just wanted to know what you thought. And if you want to comment later, which is, I must tell you now, what's happening massively now. People aren't really communicating with me on Facebook or Twitter. They go to John Gaunt TV on YouTube because you can go there and you can just write a message whenever you want. And we're having some great debates and some great, twos and fros. So feel free to do that. And that's the most important way you can help me. If you join John Gaunt TV on YouTube, find it and it will click up and it will say John Gaunt TV and it will say, do you want to subscribe on a pop-up? Subscribe normally means you've got to pay. Let me tell you, you don't. It's completely free and always will be. All it means is you get on the, what do you call it? I suppose YouTube's virtual mailing list. So whenever I do a new show or an extra show, you'll get notified, especially if you hit the notification bell. So do that. That's one way you can really help me. And I've saved the big news to the end. We have now had more than 2 million views of this channel since I started it. Thank you. Because without you, it wouldn't happen. And over 6,000 subscribers now. I'm trying to get 10,000. Then I think we might have enough money for me to have to stop begging so much for the coffee to keep it going. It's been a phenomenal success, but it's mostly down to you. You enjoying it, you sharing the stream, you telling other people. But the best way to help me, well, the money comes in handy as well. But the best way is to subscribe to John Gaunt TV. You'll never miss a show. And you do that by going to John Gaunt TV on YouTube and pressing the subscribe button. If you want to donate, please click the padlock and donate. Well, not a padlock, was it? What is it? I've never seen it myself. But anyway, the $sign and donate whatever you can. Thank you. Or go to www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt. Den Spink says 1 hour. 1 hour what? What are you on about, Den? Oh, that's Richard Pope. Den Spink says 1 hour. Red heart. Oh, I've been on for an hour. Yes, I have. Yeah. An hour? And you've hardly given me any cash? Pam Millett says, wow, fantastic, John. Congratulations. Richard Pope has given me 2 thumbs up. Yeah, it's great news about the figures. Great news that you've watched 2 million times my videos. Thank you very, very much. Did I say 2? Yeah, it's 2 million. And 6,200, 300 subscribers. Brilliant. Right, I'll be back tomorrow. What day is it? Wednesday. I'll be back tomorrow at 6. I might do an extra one tomorrow because I've got a feeling in my bones about something, but we'll see what happens overnight. Hopefully the city council will try and sue me for me daring to call my hometown a shithole, but that's what it is. I'm sorry, it is. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. Chili con carne tonight. I cooked it myself. I've not got Deliveroo. I mean, why can't people cook for themselves? How hard is chili con carne? Nice onions. I put red peppers in. You don't have to. Best mince you can get from Barker's down Holyhead Road. That's where I go now. Get that in there. Bit of garlic. A lot of garlic, in fact. What else do I put in? Chili. Of course. Tomatoes. Tomato puree. Kidney beans. Let it cook forever. Enjoy. That's what I'm going to have now. Right. What time is it? Oh, I've not missed EastEnders. I'll see you later then. Thank you very much indeed. And thanks for all your contributions tonight. It really is very kind of you. But don't forget, if you want to talk to me, the way to talk to me now is through John Gaunt TV on YouTube. Message me there and I'll reply. Not necessarily straight away, but that's where I'm the best way of communicating. Richard Pope, he's got a stopwatch on. He says, 1 hour, 1 minute. It's actually 1 hour, 3 minutes and 49 seconds. But anyway, there we are, Richard. Who's counting? If you've got kids, give them a kiss. Give them a hug. Don't forget to tell them you love them. See ya.